You're loving life again. You're smiling and you're laughing a lot more, and you're doing well. You've forgiven yourself and others. Some time has passed. Maybe you relocated. Maybe you started that business. Maybe you're pursuing that degree. You're doing a lot better. You may have even met someone new. Whatever the case may be, some time has passed, and somehow the toxic or narcissistic person in your life is figured out that you're doing well. Here comes the post discard Hoover. I want you to be prepared. Allow me to explain myself. In this video, I want to discuss the discard and the Hoover and how they're connected, how those toxic tactics of manipulation impact us. I want to discuss how they're connected and how the toxic or narcissistic person has an uncanny ability of knowing when you're healing, and here comes the Hoover. But I also want to cover the mistake that we sometimes make in our healing process of anticipating the Hoover and looking for confirmation or validation in that. Don't go away from it. And I want to say to those of you that are watching, this toxic or narcissistic person in your life isn't necessarily always a romantic partner. It could be a business partner. It could be a platonic friend. It could be a sibling. It could be a parent. So if you find value in this content, do with it what you will. Apply it where it helps. But this isn't just about romantic or intimate or sexual relationships. The toxic or narcissistic person in my life attempted to Hoover. I was already in what I like to call self-preservation mode. I had enough understanding about what it was that I was going through that I knew that it was toxic. I knew that it was unhealthy for me, and I knew that I wanted out. We make the mistake of anticipating the Hoover because we want validation. We want confirmation about the questions that we've been asking ourselves. We want clarity. We make the mistake of treating this as a breakup like we had in other traditional relationships that we were in, and this isn't that. When you're dealing with a toxic or narcissistic person, it's spiritual warfare. Make no mistake about that. If you get out the way that you should, intact, you're going to have questions, and you learn to find that closure within yourself. Closure comes from within. They're not to be trusted. They're not going to tell you the truth anyway. They're not going to fill in the blanks. They're not going to fill in the holes that you'll have. You'll have to do that on your own, and you'll have to be content with the fact that closure comes from within. You'll have to become comfortable with the fact that you're going to have unanswered questions. It just comes with dealing with a toxic or narcissistic person. And I'm also learning that as I am on my healing journey, the more time goes by, you find answers through healthy relationships, through taking inventory, through reflection, through meditation, through prayer, through just living day-to-day life and learning and growing as a person. You'll find those answers. They just won't necessarily come when you wanted them to. Once you're connected to a toxic and narcissistic person, as far as they're concerned, you belong to them always. Now, we know that that's not true, but that's not how they see us whatsoever. That's why they Hoover, because they feel like they're entitled to you and that they should still have control of you. They should still have control of your resources, of your energy, of your supply, your understanding, your warmth, your forgiveness, your lack of boundaries. Because at some point in time, we have to take accountability for the part that we had to play. A lack of boundaries had to be there, at least to some extent. I accept responsibility. I was guilty of that. But that was one of the major lessons that I learned from being in a relationship with a toxic or narcissistic person, that I needed to reinforce, establish boundaries, and hold to those boundaries. Hold myself accountable, hold others accountable, and teach others how to treat me in a way that was healthy, but also be ready to learn from others and be ready to respect other people's boundaries. And that's a beautiful thing. Boundaries are designed to keep people in our lives, not to push people out. That's the purpose for the Hoover. It's all about control. It's all about manipulation. That's what it's all about. It's not because they changed. It's not because they see the error in their ways. It's not because they see value in you. It's not because they care for you. How could they ever care when they don't care for themselves? How could they ever be loving in your direction when they don't love themselves? How could they ever provide you with security when they're insecure and fragile individuals themselves? Don't get it confused. Don't listen to their words. Listen to their actions. When people love you and value you and care for you, they will handle you and treat you in a way that will keep you close. We tend to give special love and care and attention to the things in our lives that we value. And that's just natural. To me, that's subconscious. That's like innate. That's just something that you do. When you care about something, you treat it in a way to show that you value that. And that's not what they did. They didn't change because a few weeks went by. They didn't change because a few months went by. They didn't change because they entered into a new connection with with one of their other sources of supply, or they found a new supply, grade A, main, back burner, whatever the case may be. They didn't change. They don't change. Change requires accountability. Did they ever show you accountability? Did they ever show you accountability? Did they ever give you a genuine apology? Did they ever take responsibility for anything that ever happened in the connection in a way that wasn't toxic or manipulative or that wasn't disingenuous or pretentious? Like, no. Reflect on that. Reflect on that. They didn't change. They don't change. They're not looking to change. How could they have changed when they don't find anything wrong? How could they have changed when everything is someone else's fault? How can they change when they're constantly deflecting and projecting onto others? They didn't change. Rest assured about that. I think that's one of the questions that we have sometimes, depending on where we are in our healing journey. We find ourselves wondering if they change for the new supply, if they changed. Are they giving to others what we thought we were due from them? The answer is no. They didn't change. All right. I'm going to link it above. Make sure that you check out my most recent video. If you hadn't had an opportunity to do so, I'll go ahead and link that. Check that out at your leisure so that you can find some context and better understanding about that. But they didn't change for the new supply at all. That's not their intention. There's no accountability. They can't change and they won't change. That's not something that you ever need to lose any sleep about or that you need to waste any more of your time questioning. They did not, they could not, they cannot, and they will not change. The Hoover is just to continue to use you. You is weak. If they're hoovering you, as far as I'm concerned, don't take that as a compliment. Don't look for validation in that. Don't look for confirmation in that. They're not hoovering you because they respect you or because they miss you or because they like you or because they love you. They are hoovering you because they think you're weak. They think they can come back no matter what they did and continue to use you. They want your resources. They want access to your vehicles. They want access to your money. They want access to your kindness. They want access to what you have to offer. They want access to you. That's why they're hoovering you. They're not doing it because they miss you or because they care or because they see error in their ways or because they see value in you as a person. No, they want to finish you. They want to break you. They're smearing you even as we speak. Why would you think that anything positive could ever come out of that? Can you imagine? Let me paint you a picture. They've been smearing you even since the love bomb. What is that going to look like for you when they bring you around the same group of people, their family, their friends, their coworkers that they've been smearing you to? Those side eyes that you get, those weird vibes that you get, that strange energy, that peculiar feeling that you get when you're around these people, that's because they're looking at you weird because you've been getting smeared the whole time and you're just looking like a sitting duck. It's not comfortable to be the last person to know, and that's exactly what you're always going to be when you're dealing with a toxic or narcissistic person. All right? They want to break you, they want to end you, they want to finish you. That's it. The discard is a toxic tactic of manipulation that they use as well. And it's similar in its end result. It's all about controlling you. Typically, what they're looking to do with the discard is they want you to begin chasing them again. They use the discard so that you see value in them. If they ever come to a place where it feels like you're pulling away, you're asking too many questions, maybe you start loving yourself. Maybe you start being kinder to yourself. Maybe they're getting bored. It could just be that their energy is low because you're becoming too high maintenance. You're starting to figure them out for who they are. That's when they'll discard you. They want to reel you back in. They want to throw you off balance. They want to seem sought after. Then they'll discard you and they'll run out to a new supply or another source of supply so that you will chase them. While they're pursuing another source of supply, you're supposed to be chasing them. And that gives them a great boost. That gives them a great source of supply. They enjoy that. They thrive in that. Like they crave that. They long for that. They want you to be chasing them while they're chasing someone else and someone else and someone else and someone else. That's what they want. That's one of the main reasons why they discard. It's almost like a way of taking a break, if you will, from you. Because again, maybe they got bored. Maybe you started asking too many questions. Maybe you're not pouring into them the way that you once did. So they'll throw you away in hopes that you will begin to crave them again. In hopes that you'll begin to see them the way that you did when you were in the love bomb phase. It's like they're trying to recreate the love bomb phase again. In order for them to be able to love bomb you again, they have to discard you. But no one understands that the love bomb will never be the same again. It'll never be the same again because you know too much and they don't have that same energy to give you. And you won't have that same energy to give them. It's cyclical. It's a cycle. Love bomb, devaluation, and discard, and it will always be that way. As long as you stay on that roller coaster ride with them, that's what it will always be. In order for them to begin the phases again, they have to discard you. They have to Hoover. But it's up to you. You have a lot more control than you realize. And as long as you continue to participate and engage with them in these phases, it'll always be that way. There will always be other sources of supply. They will never love you. They will never value you. They will never love themselves. This is what you can expect. Don't take it as a compliment when the Hoover comes. Don't anticipate the Hoover. Don't look for confirmation or validation in that. I'm here to tell you, being the quote unquote grade A supply is not a compliment. Don't take that as a compliment. If anything, that means that you are a lot more tolerant. They thought that they could control you. They thought that they could manipulate you. That's what made you grade A supply. It wasn't because you were more handsome or more beautiful or smarter or better or more loyal. It's because they saw that they could easily manipulate you. That's the way I see it. Being grade A supply is not to be taken as a compliment. Being the main source of supply means that they felt comfortable enough to build other sources of supply around you and that you wouldn't question. It means that you didn't have your boundaries set and that you weren't enforcing your boundaries. You weren't sticking and standing on your boundaries. That's not to be taken as a compliment. Being grade A or the main source of supply is not a compliment. Being hoovered is not to be taken as a compliment. Being hoovered is not confirmation that you are of value. Finding yourself in no contact and staying there, that's what gives you value. That is the most respect and value that you could ever get from a toxic or narcissistic person. And you shouldn't be there to see it. If they're respecting you the way that they should, that you command from them, the way that you say that you want, you shouldn't be there to see it. Because that's the only time that they're going to respect you is when you're gone. Gray rock and no contact. No contact is money, and no contact is exactly where you want to be. And no contact doesn't mean just not speaking verbally. No contact means exactly that. No contact whatsoever. Text, email, DM, through other people, writing notes. No contact is exactly that. It's no contact. All right. The discard, they use that. They use that to control you. They use that to reel you back in. They use that to make you feel afraid, to make you feel alone. They use the discard to plant seeds of insecurity within you. They use the discard to bring you back into them as they are pursuing other sources of supply. If you are a demanding individual, if you tend to be high maintenance, if you tend to ask questions, if you are seeking accountability, if you want understanding, they're going to discard you so that they can venture off, so that they can entertain someone else, so that they can engage with other sources of supply. But they're doing so knowing that they can come back to you at any time. That's how much respect they have for you. They can throw you away, drop you like you're nothing, and pick you back up. And you'll be more than happy to accommodate that. Don't allow that to be the truth for you. The Hoover and the discard play off of one another. And yes, there will be perhaps a brief love bomb, but it'll never be the same again. And now that you have more understanding and you're asking questions, you know that it's manipulation. You know that the love bomb is not real. And note, the love bomb was only as intense as it was in the beginning because one, it was new, and for two, you were pouring into them. They were mirroring you. They were giving you back. Stay with me. They observe us. They watch us. And then they reflect characteristics of us. That's why we think that we found someone who we could be on one accord with, that we could align with. But really, it was never real, and it was never something that they would be able to maintain over time. So the love bomb could never be as intense as it once was because you're not going to pour into them the same. You don't feel safe with them. You have questions now. You are starting to see them for who they really are. You are starting to see them for who they really are. Basically, as you go on, it's really now just discard, devaluation, discard, devaluation, discard, devaluation. And as long as you continue to go back, there will be the Hoover. When you have an opportunity to do so, check out the Healing and Understanding playlist for context, for more understanding, for growth. We're building community. And if you made it this far, drop down in the comment section, we made it. If you made it this far, I want to see you in the comment section, and I appreciate you. And I thank you.
Never quit. Never fold. You are a worthy individual. Stay the course. Don't backtrack. Don't mortgage the progress that you've made while entertaining Hoovers. Believe who the toxic and narcissistic person has shown you that they are. It's much too expensive a price to pay to give up the progress that you've made while entertaining Hoovers. It's a manipulation. It's a waste of your time. Greatness awaits you. Life is beautiful. Go out into the world and get what's rightfully yours. Take your power back. And know that you're valuable and know that you're loved. Life is good.